My name is Guy W. Perez, and I was born and raised in the island of Oahu, Waipahu, Oahu, the west side. You know, the Hawaiian community, it's incredible. But I knew there was more than just Hawaii. I wasn't one of those kids that, wanted to do something different. I sold everything, my car, whatever I had, I left. I said, I can do it.
Like tens of thousands of Hawaiians before and after him, Guy Perez said aloha to his friends, his family, and his home, and moved out of paradise. Most mainlanders would jump at the chance to live in a place that looks less like their traffic-filled commute and more like that screensaver on their computer at work. So, when you're already in paradise, where do you go? Well, Paradise, Nevada, also known as Las Vegas.
Thousands from all parts of the globe flock to this frontier state, and whether they come by car, rail, or circle the city and drop in by plane, their eyes pop wide open with their first glimpse of Las Vegas.
Aloha and welcome. I'm your host, Alex. This episode will explore how Las Vegas became a home away from home for Hawaiians. So much so that they came to refer to it as the Ninth Island. This is my show. This is what happened in Vegas. Ho'olaualea is a Hawaiian word that means celebration, and one form of Hawaiian celebration can be traced back to the old days of Las Vegas. Talking Frankie and Dino, atomic testing, 50-cent cocktails, the old days. In fact, it was a descendant of Hawaiian royalty that changed Las Vegas forever.
We set the tone of the city. There's no such a thing as lounges. There's no such a thing as 24 hours gaming. It all happened because of the Mary Kay Trio.
In late 1940s Las Vegas, there was a main act that would go on, and then the after party would happen in a bar, in the casino. Malia Kaihui, aka Mary Kay, a descendant of Queen Liliuokalani, helped refine this and create the Lounge Act.
So they put a heavy, and I said, build a stage. So they built the stage, and the next thing I know, we had standing room only from the moment we started, and we had to go 24 hours whether we liked it or not.
I've worked these saloons before. I know what these drunks want to hear. Could you introduce me, please? It's good for
What do you drunks want to hear?
With the Lounge Act becoming a success, shows would go on until 6 in the morning and would influence the 24/7 operating hours in casinos.
Frank Sinatra came in to see us, our show. He brought in a couple of high rollers, and that night they dropped $120,000. The next day, everybody who isn't 24 hours and don't have any lounges, all of a sudden, hey, we better do what they're doing.
Swing! I'm trying. Baby,
Around the time Mary Kay was performing to packed lounges, a man from Oklahoma named Sam Boyd had just made his first investment in Las Vegas, a 1% interest in a casino that would open in 1952, the Sahara. He had saved $6,000 since moving to Las Vegas in 1941 with his wife and his son Bill. Before arriving in Vegas, he had cut his teeth in a place not known for its gaming industry, Hawaii.
My dad was thought to be a local boy because he had been there and ran some gaming for a Japanese fellow that controlled gaming in the islands then.
That's Sam's son, Bill Boyd, who was a young child when the Boyds lived in Hawaii.
We lived in Honolulu, on Oahu, and I went to kindergarten, first and second grade there. In fact, I never wore shoes to school till I moved to Las Vegas in the 5th grade.
Sam Boyd was born in Enid, Oklahoma in 1910. And before ending up in Vegas, his love of gaming took him all over the country. For a while, he was dealing poker and running bingo nights on a ship. Because in the 1930s, gambling outside Nevada was illegal, but International waters were only 3 miles off the coast, so he found a loophole. But, like most things fun, the US government caught wind of this and
The federal government made the international waters 4 miles out, and that kind of eliminated the boats. It took longer, and people would get sick because it got a lot rougher.
between stints on that ship, aptly called the world's largest floating casino, Sam Boyd ended up working in Hawaii. He was mentored by Hisakishi and Saga, the aforementioned Japanese fella who controlled gaming on the islands. Hisakishi ran Palace Amusements, a gaming venue, and taught Sam the ins and outs of the gaming industry. As his love of gaming grew, he eventually made it back to the mainland. And where else but Las Vegas?
We moved to Las Vegas in 1941. I was 10 years old at the time, and my dad was a dealer. Then he worked his way up, worked downtown in several places on the Strip, and got promoted finally and became a floor man, pit boss, and was even a shift boss and a casino manager.
As Sam was working his way up, he started making investments in casinos like the Sahara, the Mint, and the El Dorado. His son Bill eventually got involved with the family business, and the father-son team were asked to run the Plaza Hotel and Casino in exchange for an opportunity to buy land next door.
They were going to build a hotel and lease it to us, and they're going to sell us the land right next door, Sam. And he said, would you come down, invest in it, and run it? So my dad said yes. And we were there for 3 years, and one day my dad said, why don't we go open our own place?
Today, Boyd Gaming is a corporation with a net worth of $3 billion that owns almost 30 casinos. In 1975, their first casino, the California Hotel, was, hence the name, originally supposed to cater to Californians. But after initial struggles, Sam Boyd remembered his time in Hawaii.
We need a niche market here, and that's going to be Hawaii. Well, it was Hawaii because he said when we lived in Hawaii, there was a game in every block. Now, what he meant by that is the Hawaiians love to play, and we're going to make the California Hotel their home away from home. So that's what we set out to do. He and I would go to Hawaii about 5 or 6 days out of every month and just go around to the travel agent selling our package. We put together what we called our Hawaiian package.
Sam and Bill came up with different ways to entice Hawaiians to come to Las Vegas. This included sending their chefs to Hawaii to learn how to make Hawaiian cuisine, appearing on local TV stations, and creating discounted travel packages. One discovery they made was the popularity of a certain brand of beer.
Hawaiians loved Coors beer, and they could not get it in Hawaii at that time. They had tried it probably on one of their trips to California or Nevada and really liked it.
They used the Rocky Mountain Brew to grease the wheels a bit and encourage travel agents in Hawaii to talk up the California Hotel to their customers.
So what we would do when we were in Honolulu, we would take 40 cases of Coors beer on the commercial airline with us. If we were going to visit 6 travel agents the first morning, for example, we'd take 6 in the trunk, put them on our shoulder, and we'd walk in, and that was our gift to them.
That was in the mid-1970s, and the California Hotel is still going strong and still successfully marketing to Hawaiians. Boyd Gaming has stated the California Hotel is around 80% Hawaiian most of the year, and they fill 4 of their own charter jets every week from Las Vegas to Hawaii. They've recently tried a little rebranding, calling themselves the Cal for short. Check out this commercial from 2017.
We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha, spoken here.
Aloha, spoken here. Las Vegas has the biggest population of Hawaiians other than Hawaii itself. Although Hawaiians come in droves to visit Las Vegas and the California Hotel, it's become so much more than a tourist destination. Hawaiians are part of the Las Vegas community.
So can you tell me,
it's the ninth island.
Where we are and what we're doing here?
Right now, this is the University of Hawaii alumni fundraiser, and it's $10, and it's sold out an event. It's a buffet along with entertainment, and this is really the scholarship fundraising event. And we're up at the Shriners Temple.
That's Oni Onakea, Hawaiian-born, long-time Las Vegan. She's a regular at these events where they dine, have raffles, fundraise, and celebrate what they call the Aloha spirit. That's where I met Guy Perez. If you need an MC for a Hawaiian event in Las Vegas, you call Brother Guy.
So, if you guys can follow me and do a cheer for me, all it is real simple. You-ha. All right? 1, 2, 3. You-ha! One more time for the people. I moved out to Las Vegas, Nevada in 1989, April 6th. And just, was one of those kids that, wanted to do something different. And I was at a wedding. My brother-in-law's best friend was at the wedding. He mentioned that he was going to UNLV at the time. He said, I can get you a studio for $175. Everything just calculated. My mind flow was just started to affect. I said, I can do it. And, Vegas and stuff. And my first job was the Mazio Pizza. From there, I went to dealer school. I got my first dealing job at Sam's Town. I broke in.
After Guy worked at Sam's Town, a casino named after Sam Boyd, who we heard about earlier, he worked a variety of service industry jobs, which is a huge industry in Las Vegas, as well as Hawaii.
We have a similar kind of economy from the tourism. And it's kind of like over here, you could work in the casinos and, kind of like tourism.
When Guy was living in Vegas in the 90s, the Hawaiian population was considerably less, and the cultural influence wasn't as present. The California Hotel almost became an embassy of sorts.
That became, like the mainstay or the place to meet, because then a lot of people, they were bringing in people coming in Thursdays, leaving Sundays, some people coming in Sundays, leaving in Thursdays. Yeah, we used to go to the California Hotel a lot.
As the years went by, more Hawaiians started making the move, possibly looking for a change, and more than likely because of Hawaii's high cost of living.
It was less expensive than Hawaii. Housing, jobs, your money. A lot of people in Hawaii, to this day, work 2, 3, multiple jobs. Just to make ends meet.
Guy started doing radio in the late 90s, and as the Hawaiian population started to grow, that's when he started noticing the Ninth Island moniker.
Cool, because we had a small little niche market of people that used to listen, used to call in. That was the first time I heard the term Ninth Island on that show. And then, it started to grow. And the more people that started coming, you started seeing more influenced by people's cars. They had Hawaiian style stickers on their cars. And it was just, you started seeing more, and you always catch them up and just to give the, hang loose shaka, hey, you're from Hawaii too, that kind of, and on the freeway, it was kind of funny. But it started to grow towards, you started to have more restaurants. You started to, see more people.
As the Hawaiian culture became more and more present in Las Vegas, that's when Guy started emceeing for bigger and bigger events.
It's called the Las Vegas Hawaiian Civic Club. Every September, they had this festival called the Ho'olaulea. They had it once a year. So they had bands, they had these food booths, craft booths, entertainment. It was really small. I was at this park, Lorenzi Park, back in the days. Fast forward now, I host a lot of the big events. I still do the Ho'olaulea. They still, have it. Yeah, another one is the Pure Aloha, where they have twice a year. And I'm been the MC since 2000.
Annual Pure Aloha Spring Festival. Come down, bring the ohana, and shop with all of the food and retail vendors.
Aside from the similar industries and cheaper cost of living, one of the biggest reasons Guy moved to Las Vegas in the first place is one that a lot of people can relate to: getting out of your hometown.
A lot of people tell me, why did you move from Hawaii, man? Everybody's trying to get there, or, and it says, well, it just so happened I was just one of those same kids that, wanted to do something different and see more of the world. And just so happened that I was born and raised in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's interesting because what you're talking about is everyone who grew up in any town, you know, there's going to be a percentage of people that's what they want to do. They want to get out of their hometown. And it just so happens that your hometown is paradise.
Yeah.
You know, so it almost doesn't even make a difference.
The Las Vegas Hawaiian connection always struck me as odd. The more I thought about it, though, both places have so much in common. I mean, the lifeblood of each economy is people's desire to come here and look at the thing, whether that thing be a casino in the shape of a pyramid or an active volcano. Bottom line, though, man-made or natural, Hawaii and Las Vegas are both gems in the middle of nowhere. And whether we walk on beaches or deserts made of sand, we walk together. And as a Las Vegas local, I'm pretty happy I can go get a Spam Musubi or listen to amazing Hawaiian musicians pretty conveniently. What Happened in Vegas is produced and engineered by me, Alex Higgins. Big thanks to Guy Perez for hanging out and talking with me, Oni Onikea for inviting me to the Hawaiian Civic Club event, Thomas Wilmer for letting me use his interview with Bill Boyd, check out his podcast, Journeys of Discovery, and Jasmine Aguilera for mentoring me throughout this whole process. I'll see you next time.